Hey, what is happening, everybody? We're back with Superfriends, episode 94, here on the Hybrid Network. I'm Luke with my co-host Tim.
How's it going, everyone?
And it's another two-man episode this week, another unofficial World's Finest that we've got going on. That's just kind of the running theme with the show at this point. Tim, how have you been today?
It's been a pretty low-key day.
I haven't really done much either. I watched Mr. Mercedes, because I have to do a review for that for the Stephen King thing this week, which I think is probably going to be up by the time this goes up. And I saw a DuckTales reboot, and that was pretty cool.
I saw that too, yeah.
That was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
It was fun. I've also been marathoning Fairy Tail just cause.
That's the thing. It's been in my recommended on Hulu for a while, and I've just never... That and One Piece, the two shows that I just look at and
Don't watch One Piece, it has awful pacing.
Why don't we actually start this off with some Justice League details and news. Again, this isn't really a whole lot, and we're going to be getting into something that might be a little controversial based on the video that we did last week, I believe, but we're going to start
Justice League related being controversial? Wonders never cease.
You can't say that. You're not allowed to say that. Anyway, we have some news actually concerning Cyborg and apparently his role in the movie. From what we know, Joe Morton, who's playing Silas Stone in the upcoming movie and in Batman v Superman, I believe, he gave some news. He talked to Comic Book Movie and kind of told them how Cyborg's role in the movie changed a little bit with the reshoots, that he sort of, I guess, became a little bit lighter of a character, but I guess they wanted to dive a little bit more into his relationship with his father as well. Which I guess makes sense, because in the New 52, I guess, and I don't remember ever if it was in the previous canon, but Cyborg's relationship with his father is strained, and it's difficult just because he and Star Labs are responsible for helping integrate him with the sort of, I guess you can call it the New Gods technology, the mother box attached to him, and just kind of helping him deal with that. But in his words with Comic Book Movie, he stated something as... Yeah, some of that still exists in the film, where Victor sort of feels like, yes, you saved my life, but look what you made me look like, Morton explained. I can't go out and be a regular person. He has no alias, nothing to hide behind, so what I think is great about the idea is that you begin, in a metaphoric way, sort of talking about what it means to be the other in society. It goes on a little bit after that, and it just kind of talks about ostracization and just how Victor's never really going to be able to integrate back into society, how he kind of fits in more with, like, these superheroes, and... I don't know. Like, as far as dynamics go, I think it's kind of an interesting way to take with Cyborg. And I mean, again, this has kind of been a big thing with his character, I believe, since the New 52. I never really knew that much about Cyborg in the pre-canon, but that was always...
I remember that stuff coming up, like, at least when they did his backstory in the original universe, but it wasn't, like, a huge focus of his character, like, his relationship with his father, like... They would periodically go back and touch on the fact that he was a cyborg and didn't fit in with people, but the stuff with his dad, like, it was there, it definitely was, but it didn't feel like it was as focused on as it was when they started the New 52.
Yeah, and I mean, again, this is all pretty... It's just, I guess, deeper stuff for the character like this, just being the way he is. And I mean, it's even said in here, Joe Morton's gone on record saying that... He believes the Cyborg solo movie is still happening. He's not entirely sure, though. Basically, it might be. Who knows? Who doesn't? Because
the people working on DC films know as much about them as we do.
I mean, to be fair, because like at the San Diego Comic-Con thing, when they showed the new slate, Cyborg was not on that slate. But I mean, a lot of other stuff wasn't. So I mean... I guess at this point, it's just kind of wait and see. I don't think a Cyborg movie can happen. Or, it's not that I don't think it can happen. I think it's not going to happen. But, I mean, if they go with this direction for the character, I think it could probably work in some capacity.
Right.
Like, what would you think? Like, okay. If you had to do a Cyborg solo movie, a gun's been pointed to your head, you've been kidnapped by Warner Brothers, you have to make this movie... like, what do you do? How do you go about it? Because Cyborg, like, he works mostly in a team setting. He's not really like a solo kind of character.
Yeah, they've tried to push him being solo for a while, and it basically boils down to the same problem Black Widow does whenever they try to push her being solo. They're just not that interesting and don't have a strong enough supporting cast to, like, warrant being by themselves outside of the team dynamic.
Right. I mean, they had some stuff with, I believe it was during Forever Evil with him and the Metal Men, and that could be interesting, but I mean, at the same time, you just come into the problem where you're kind of putting him in sort of a team scenario where you have to have other DC characters to kind of balance him off.
Every idea that I think of for Cyborg involves him and some other group of people.
Yeah.
Like, it'd either be like the Metal Men, or it would be the Titans.
Yeah. I guess and I mean, I don't even think it's like a tragic part of the character. I just think that character works better in a team setting.
Yeah, they're just characters who just can't carry solo things on their own.
Right.
Like, Storm's a great character. I'd never want to see her by herself.
You wouldn't want to see an X-Men Origin Storm movie?
I mean, as an origin movie, fine, not as a franchise or as an ongoing series.
Yeah, man, they were really putting all their eggs in the basket for that Cyborg trilogy franchise. Moving on, though, we actually have another piece of news. This is the controversial thing I was talking about. We did a video on this, and it was pretty split down the middle in terms of how people were responding to it. I want to preface this by saying that this is a rumor, that this isn't like a confirmed thing. This is not like some big source came out and we like learned a lot of stuff about it. This is a rumor, but coming at us from Batman on Film, they had done some stuff with the Cyborg character as well, but they also prefaced this by saying that a lot of the reshoots concerning Justice League are extensive. And basically, the report said that Justice League, the film, was unwatchable before these Joss Whedon reshoots came in. And let me, because this is a touchy thing, obviously. A lot of people don't want this movie to be a failure, which I don't even know if it will be. But, I mean, with a lot of the problems that BVS had in terms of, like, the storytelling and just how it was sort of written out, I can kind of see a Justice League movie maybe falling into the same trappings, especially if it was being written, like, around the same like, not long after Batman v Superman. They were working on Justice League, like, before that movie, I think, even came out in theaters. So I can understand, I guess, where this report could be coming from. I don't know how much validity there could be to it. I mean, Batman on Film, they have some reputable stuff, and I mean, I'm not gonna, like, discount his credibility or anything. It's just one of those things that you kind of have to wonder, and it's not like we'll ever really know, because we're always only going to be able to see the final product with the reshoots and added. But I mean, Tim, how much credit do you put into this? That, like, all these reshoots that Whedon's been doing, they're, like, extensive for the most part. That they're practically changing the film in some ways.
I don't know, like, I feel unwatchable would be a strong term for it unless there were whole scenes that weren't finished before Zack Snyder left, which would be weird because they were supposedly done at that point.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that it's like that, like, there might be extensive research. I wouldn't say that the original film, like, when Zack Snyder did it, would have been, like, awful, but I can't say one way or the other because I'm never going to see it.
Yeah, like, again, that's just the big thing with this whole rumor in general, because, again, I was looking online, like, a lot of people are upset about it, but I think it all just comes down to the fact that we don't know if it's going to be unwatchable at that point, because we're not going to see that version. And I mean, if it's a good movie, it's a good movie. It doesn't really matter, I think, at what point the movie was unwatchable. I mean, if it is watchable once we get it, who cares?
Right. They did say, like, with the Cyborg stuff that they made his character lighter, so
right.
I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say that probably the original film was gonna have a closer tone to Man of Steel.
Probably, I would assume so.
Which, if it was, it would be unwatchable for me, because that movie is boring as fuck. But I don't know. Maybe it would have been. It would have had like not exactly the same as that because the trailer still shows stuff that was shot from back when Zack Snyder was working on it, so it did have more of like a sense of humor and character to it than that did.
That is all we have for Super Friends this week. Another short episode. Hopefully DC will throw us a bone in the near future and give us some bigger news to talk about, not just rumors and TVs stuff. Tim, where can people find you on social media?
They can find me on Twitter at Aussie Dragoon.
And I am on Twitter at Baron_Zemo1. This has been Super Friends episode 94, and we will see you guys next week. Peace.
Later.